As now we all know, Witchwood is coming really soon, and yesterday we had the last review stream of all the final cards that have been released, and now we have the complete set that we will have in the Witchwood. To follow up all the card reviews I did before, I'm gonna do a final review on all the cards that were revealed yesterday. And after that I will follow it up with a complete review on everything that has been revealed. A more class specific review. But first I want to check out all the class cards that have been revealed yesterday. And the first one, I'm gonna start off with Hunter, is the Carrion Drake. Carrion Drake, 5 mana, 3/7 battle cry. If a minion died this turn, gain a poisonous. So 5 mana, 3/7 is already a pretty solid stat line for 5 mana. Gaining poison for this card should not be too difficult. The poisonous effect of like getting like if a minion died this turn. There are a lot of minions dying normally. You already have a minion on the board, you trade something away, you have a weapon equipped, you have some additional mana to make trades happen. Shall definitely be a card that get the poisonous super consistent. 5 mana 3/7 with poisonous is a really solid stat line. The problem is like, hey, do you just want to play a vanilla minion that is not a beast, what is a dragon, to just play it? So there has been a little bit dragon synergy revealed also. Dragon Hunter just isn't there yet, and the problem a little bit for Hunter is like, hey, the Hunter, you don't get much if you just drop your pretty solid 5 mana minion. What is really gonna happen? So I'm a little bit concerned about that, it's just like a strong minion and it doesn't interact too much on the board. Stat line is definitely solid enough. Maybe there are some nice combinations that can also make this card a bit better. But for me, the Dragon synergy, just these kind of stat lines for a Hunter are just really hard to make it work. Like, we currently don't even play Savannah Highmane in Hunter. What is like a complete value bump if you look at it for 6 mana. So Hunter is really struggling to fit in like the mid-range and control archetype. Cards like this can work into that, but the archetype has to be working well first to make it really work. Next up for the Hunter is the Vilebrood Skitterer. Vilebrood Skitterer, a 5 mana 1/3. What is a really bad stat line if you look at it first, but the card has some really interesting mechanics. It has Poisonous and Rush. And the combination of Poisonous and Rush combined is of course really strong. You can directly attack with it. So it can be the card that in the late game just deals with a Deathwing without a problem. Or deals with any big minion. But also just maybe decent off curve and hoping you can even get 2 trades going. It is a little bit expensive on the side to just run. And that might be a little bit of a problem for the card. But it is a single removal for Hunter. You can definitely see it as like a removal that Hunter doesn't really... Hunter has some decent removals, but not like the best single removal in one single card. And maybe the Skitterer can do a little bit there. Has to be in a mid-range Hunter. Has to be in a mid-range Hunter. For me, it now currently feels like it's not gonna make the cut. But Rush and Poisonous combined is really good. The taunts are a little bit a problem maybe, because then it first has to attack into the taunt. If it will be like a shooter, let's say the card deals 1 damage with Poisonous or something, that could maybe be a bit better, because then you can like shoot it away besides Poisonous. A card like this is not a bad card. It's never gonna be a bad card. It's like a single removal. It's like a card that you want in the deck as an additional card. So it's not gonna make your deck, no. It's gonna be a card that might make your deck just having that removal a bit better. Will be needed in mid-range Hunter, but there are some kind of nice spells that are recently revealed too that might just do it a little bit better. Next up, what has been revealed yesterday is Mage. So Mage has a little bit been all over the place, and now with Iceblock rotating out, there is a lot of additional things that maybe Mage wants to do. We have seen the even and uneven archetype that can be maybe a thing for Mage. We have seen a lot of draw mechanics for Mage. We have seen Minion Mage getting quite some additional stuff. So that's the thing. One card that I don't think is gonna make it is this one. It's probably a really weak card revealed for the Mage. 5 mana 4/4 whenever you draw a card, gain +1/+1. Cards like this are just not gonna work in Constructed. They are actually pretty reasonable cards, I think, in Arena, where when you draw a card, you get the buff mechanic quite fast going on. But in Constructed, this is not a card that you want to play. It's like too inconsistent. You just drop it as a body and you just like hope it grows. It's not really gonna make an thing in, also not in a minion mage, not in an uneven mage deck. What I think is definitely gonna be an archetype. This card will not make a place into it. It's just too weak stat line, too weak effect. Cinderstorm is another mage card, but is kinda in the same spot as Arcane Missiles. But then for 3 mana dealing 5 damage. So it's a little bit higher cost, more damage. Not sure if it makes up for it, because the cost increases 2 mana. And for that you deal 2 additional damage. So if I combine it to Arcane Missiles, I'm feeling a little bit like I'm not getting rewarded for... I have to pay 2 more mana for this card. Can definitely be still maybe somewhere in the places as you want to maybe play it in like an uneven Baku Mage. I think definitely a Baku Mage is something I will try. Upgrading the Mage hero power, you gain a really strong hero power. You gain a Hunter hero power that you can target on the board. So it is definitely an upgrade you want to do. But still, then I'm still not sure if I will ever play these kind of Cinderstormy cards. Just doesn't feel like fitting the plays really well. Feels a little bit too all over the place for me. And another card here for the mage, and a little bit more in the freeze there. Snap Freeze! Freeze a minion if it is already frozen. Destroy it. Poor Shatter. Poor Shatter, at least. Feels like a little bit of a power creep to Shatter. 2 mana, freeze a minion if it's already frozen. Because it like always freezes, right? So it's a little bit of a power creep to that. It's some reasonable synergy around with Frostbolt and Frostnova. Maybe Blizzard. I think it is going to be a quite popular pick, also from Primordial Cliff, maybe in that sense, if you play a little bit more of a control mage. So, it's a better Shatter, guys. Cannot say anything more about that, definitely. But I don't know if I already start to compare cards to Shatter, how excited I shall be for the card. It's that maybe not like a card I will be like, alright, that's gonna be like exciting, huh? So, yeah, it's gonna be okay, maybe. It's a better Shatter, guys. What are we worried about, huh? Next up here, what do we have? It is the Paladin Legendary. So, we have seen a little spoilers where the Shaman and Paladin Legendary have been revealed. And it turned out that they were right. It was indeed Prince Liam, the Legendary for the Paladin. 5 mana 5/5 Prince Liam. Battlecry turns from all your 1-cost cards in your deck into legendary minions. So, a really interesting effect of the way of also building your Paladin deck around. If you want to make this card work, it's definitely in a Paladin deck that is kind of more aggressive. It feels like you want to make a more aggro Paladin or like a proactive Paladin deck. Where then afterwards, if you need more late game stuff, then suddenly you play this card and all your 1-cost cards are turning into legendary minions. We have seen quite some secret support to Paladin. We now have like a baby Mistress Challenger back, where like you put 2 secrets on the board. We have we have seen an additional secret. So there are now reasons why Paladin will play 1 mana cards. It's definitely not unlikely. I definitely think Paladins will. Just because of how strong the 4 mana Mysterious Challenger is. Not sure how many you will play. Because you don't want to play too much. 1 mana secrets are not so suboptimal. And how good are random legendaries? Legendary minions are not necessarily that great. We have quite some bad legendary minions too. So I don't even know if it's always gonna be an upgrade. And that's a little bit the problem. This card, stat line wise, is fine. The effect is kind of strong too, but the effect is also kind of inconsistent. You can get some really bad legendaries in your deck that you don't even want. So a little bit worried about this. I don't think it's gonna be probably good enough. But it's definitely a card that I will try out, and it will also put definitely some cool highlights going. Gonna be we'll see. New Paladin secret also revealed. Hidden Wisdom. New Paladin secret. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, draw 2 cards. Oh, hard secret to evaluate a bit. Like, the thing is, I don't think this secret is great. But I definitely think this secret, just having in the collection, has already, like, impact. Because now suddenly Paladins are getting, like, random secrets on the board. And you kinda, if it doesn't get procced, you kinda have to play around it. So, like, yeah, it might not be, like, the most insane card to run in your Paladin deck, but it can actually be really good. After your opponent plays 3 cards in a turn, like, you kind of prevent 1 mana draw 2 is definitely good. So it can just be a card you might want to play as a one-off in like a more secret Pally based deck, where maybe even with the Prince, where if you are like, oh, it's useless against this class, I'm not gonna play it. But there are quite some, like, let's say against Secret Mage, it can be really good. It can be like the card that makes them, once they have a Lana, that they can only play 2 cards, or you also draw cards. The card doesn't feel broken enough for me to make like consistent use, but this card being in the collection, it's gonna directly affect already the game. Every time a secret comes into the game, it affects the game. It's just, we all know like how you need to sometimes play around Vaporize, or how you have to play around for Paladin Secret Trial at some point. That was like a really bad secret, way worse than this one, but you had to play around it a bit. And this will be the same. You're gonna respect it, you're gonna know this card is around, you're gonna have like Philfish moments where you like straight play into this card and it actually is the card. So it will definitely affect the game a bit. Also a good card against Echo now I think about it. Like it kinda is an Echo blocker here and there a bit. So that can also be a thing. Next up for the Pally, it is the Ghostly Charger. Ghostly Charger, 5 mana 3/4, Divine Shield, Rush, and has the Beast archetype. So Rush and Divine Shield are a great combination together. You can rush into something and you gain like a Divine Shield. I think I like this more than a Rush with Poisonous, maybe. So if you compare this card a bit to, like, let's first combine it a little bit to like what comes in my mind is like the Korkan Elite. Well, it has like kind of similar stand time and has like charge, so not the rush, but can attack directly. This can be a really decent, I mean, these cards are definitely going to be good in arena, or like fine. Like this card can go 2 for 1, like here and there, or go like better than 1 for 1. Also a thing that comes in my mind is like this card has great synergy with O-Card. I think it's actually a really good one with O-Card, because it has rush. So like O-Card already being a 9 mana really fast card, it can also like be really proactive on the board directly. Yeah, like Divine Shield Paladin got some buffs here too. I have to take an additional look at this card when I see all the Paladin cards a bit together. Like if there are even more reasons to run Divine Shield, this can definitely be a card to run. This card should not be underestimated because of like Divine Shield Rush is really strong combined. Like you trade a minion away and you still have a 5 mana 3/4 body. It's just a really solid body all around. Paladin is not like the class that has like the best 5 drops either. So for Paladin, like 5 drop, like if this card will be a 4 mana card and it will be like a 2/3 with Divine Shield Rush, I will rate it lower just because of Paladin having so many good 4 mana cards, and 5 mana cards are a little bit of, I don't know, like Paladin just doesn't feel to have good 5 mana cards. Maybe there are neutral cards you want to run now. There are some really nice taunts in the 5 mana slot now too. So yeah, like if you like combine this to Farplan Slayer, like it's a little bit weaker in the way of removing. You don't need combo, but you can also go like 2 for 1, or you like trade a minion away and you have a 3-4 body left. Like, the stat line is really solid of this card, so I definitely think this is a decent card. Next up, going here to Priest, we have here the Nightscale Matriarch. Nightscale Matriarch. Whenever a friendly minion is healed, summon a 3/3 whelp. So, this is a mega value bump. Stat line for this card is not bad. 7 mana 4/9 is, I mean, it's not insane. It's not like the best 7 mana stat line, but for this effect, like, you definitely want this card to have like a higher life total than like attack. And the effect is so strong. Whenever a friendly minion is healed, so not this card, no. Whenever a friendly minion is healed, so you can just heal like a minion on the board, it summons a 3/3 whelp, and it's a really power effect. Because if you then don't kill this, and this card is not easy to kill, if then the next turn this card is not getting killed, it even gets stronger. So, you can make the deck a little bit around it. Like, you can play a more control priest, a more circle of healing based priest, where you also have these insane earlier swings. You can already, if at turn 9 it's like a 9 mana 4/9 and a 3/3 already, with more possibilities. You need to make your deck a bit around this card to make it work. Also, an interesting thing is that we now have another like dragon for priest, what is really relevant because operative is rotating out. We have historian rotating out, and Dustbreaker is still there. And Dustbreaker needs dragons to be active. And Dustbreaker is amazing, like it's one of the best cards in the game. And you need to still run dragons if you want to have that as a possibility too. So maybe then it's also a reason to run like at least one of these cards. It might be hard to make work, but I like the card. It's a really cool card. Next up, Quartz Elemental. 5 mana 5/8 can't attack while damaged. So the great thing about Priest, of course, is that your minion doesn't have to be damaged. You can just heal it up a bit. There are some silence effects you can do with this card, like just play silence on it and hey, it can already attack. Cards like this are never bad. Cards with like such a strong stat line can always make work. So this card is definitely already fine to nice. If the card is gonna be like amazing, that's what we kinda have to review, because 5 mana 5/8 guys is just great. It's just fine, it's just nice. The problem is like, yeah, well, it has a little bit of a negative effect. It's not like it can still like be decent. So there's also like some additional heal cards for Priest revealed, what might make this card even stronger. Priest is going a really different direction. There are a lot of minions wanting like getting healed heavily. So we're gonna make like more circle of healing based priests that are like gonna get way faster, a little bit higher amount of heal than 2. Also an elemental, not sure if that's like really relevant for priest. I mean, we also have radiant elemental, but there's not like a lot synergy, right, for elemental priest. It's gonna be an interesting card though. This is definitely a card that is gonna like make some a good supporter to make like additional heavy healing priest decks really work. And hey, it will always be on the board, guys, so your opponent is kind of forced to remove it, because at some point you are able to attack with it again. So it's a strong elemental. It's a strong elemental. And just to follow that card a bit up, here is another card that we revealed for priest. It is Divine Hymn, and I was surprised when I saw this card, because this card is really powerful. If you just read the card, it's insane how much the potential is it can heal. If you compare it just to some other healing cards that we are having in the game, like if you will just already have a 2 mana restore 6 health to your face, it's already like the Paladin card. What is it called? Holy Light? Like 2 mana heal 6. So, and if you compare it to like priest cards, you had a lot of like flash healy cards with 1 mana heal fight. We had Light of the Naru back in the day, what was also a little bit there. But this one, restore 6 to all friendly characters. It heals your face, it heals your minions, it just heals everything. It's like a circle of healing, just a bit more healing, and also healing your face. So it's a really strong card. Compare it to the 4 mana card, Healing Potion. Well, I'm not gonna run Healing Potion anymore when I can play this card. Like, if you compare it to Circle of Healing, it's like it has a little bit ups and downs maybe. You can also have great synergy with Auchenai guards, and you can like deal 6 damage to yourself and kill your whole board. That's some awesome synergy. Divine Hymn, no, this card's really good. This card's really good. And this is a card, guys, that can support like the cards that we were just talking about really well too. Like if you compare this card with the dragon and you suddenly heal 3 minions and you summon 3 whelps, you heal your elemental so easily, fully up. You play it also with like cleric combinations and you draw a lot of cards. This card is really strong priest card. Like the thing is, these cards are maybe not, because they are a little bit situational, they are not going to be mega OP. But this one is going a little bit to the direction of really strong and OP in my opinion. So, really strong card. Next up is the Squashling, 2 mana 2/1 priest card. Echo, Battle Cry, Restore to Health. So it seems like every class is, or most of the classes are getting a 2 mana Echo card. With like something that fits their class. 2 mana 2/1, like stat line wise, it's a little low, but with the possibility of Echo, it's definitely a really, like the flexibility of Echo is gonna be something that is gonna be pretty strong. Like it's gonna be a thing. Hey, yeah, you can play this at turn 4, and I restore 2 health to a minion, and then I restore 2 health to my face. Oh, and maybe at 6 mana I can do something more. Like there's so much flexibility in this card that it's gonna be a pretty nice, I think, way of Echo for priest. Like if you like just see the stat line, like it's just on 1 more mana more expensive Voodoo Doctor, but for that you gain the Echo effect. So like already just having like, even if you have it just to play 1 or 2, it's just like an Echo is just gonna be like something that fits into a class really well as like flexibility of fitting the curve where you need it. There are some nice combinations where this card can also deal damage with Auchenai, or with the 2 mana spell that like changes your heal effects to damage effects. So there's also like a really good way of making this card proactive, where you can like bring in a little bit like more burny priest. I think this card is decent. It's not gonna like make a new priest archetype mecha sick, but this card is definitely just a fine and nice card to have all around. And will be a little bit like, you're not gonna like make your deck around this card, but it's gonna be like a card that you just like gonna put in your deck as number 25 and have like, yeah, I kind of want 1 or 2 of these maybe in my deck. So I think the card's gonna, it also will depend a little bit on the meta and how like, I think you want to play this deck also with Auchenai and Circle and play it more as a deck like that. And it can really fit in like well with the Healing Priest. Like we talked about the Elemental already. Well, let this guy heal the Elemental 3 times. The Elemental can attack. You can also first heal the Elemental attacks, and then you heal it 2 times back again. So like the flexibility of this card is really strong. So I really think this card is pretty powerful. Next up is the Cuttthroat Buccaneer. 3 mana 2/4 card here for the Rogue. With the availability of combo, give your weapon a +1 attack. So, to not talk too much about Arena, because yeah, cards like this I guess can always be fine in Arena. Like this can be like a more card just for Kingsbane Rogue. Rogue is getting a little bit cards all over the place, in my opinion, in this expansion. A lot of like random cards that too that like add additional cards from the other class. A lot of synergy with Tess and so on. But this card is not fitting that archetype, and this card is more fitting into the Kingsbane Rogue, I think. Into the Kingsbane Rogue, giving your weapon +1 attack is great. So it might be like the card that, if you compare it to like the Naga that we have at the 4 mana, that sometimes get played. I don't think it fits like better than the Scoot Face. But maybe there's like some space for this card to like run. It's just a little bit cheaper, while it's like nice. I don't think it is gonna be strong enough for the Kingsbane at the end of the day. I just feel it's not good enough. It's already a little bit on the weak side to run some of the other weapon buffs currently. But hey, if you really need to have even a stronger weapon buff, might be actually not so nice that this card is also requiring combo. Because you already have like minstrels that you want to play the combos on. It's an extra minion you can draw, but it's like not the best. So I don't think this card is gonna make it, and I don't really see it working in other archetypes. Okay guys, and now to one of the most insane legendaries that has been revealed. It is the Shudderwock for the Shaman. 9 mana 6/6 battle cry. Repeat all other battle cries from cards you played this gate. Charted or chosen randomly. Wow, what a card, guys. What a card. This card is kind of comparable in a way to what we had with Yogg. But this is a little bit more planned way of Yogg, because you kind of know what's gonna happen. You kind of know what's gonna happen. Yeah, some targets are chosen randomly, but battle cries are sometimes really limited in their options. So you still can really... You can know what is gonna happen. And what is really interesting about this card is all the effects will go off. So the Shudderwock will be going on the board, but all the effects will be working. There are some really... And that is really the interesting part about battle cries. Because some are working, you really have to read the battle cry well to know how it's exactly gonna work. Because if you like take a look at the chain gang, it says like it copies one of the minions. But if you do that in combination with Shudderwock, you're not getting a chain gang. No, you get 2 Shudderwocks because it copies the minion. So it doesn't copy the card, it copies only the battle cry part of the card. So really, really interesting and really sick work. There are already some really nice elementals too that maybe can have like a great battle cry there. But especially the cards that are like so powerful, like the chain gang just copying a minion. That can definitely be like a great thing. This is a card you're gonna make your deck around. This is such a strong card, or like such a strong effect, that you can make your deck a little bit around. And I need to have a little bit of the complete picture of like what is all gonna like be in the battle cry part here. Yeah, it's such a strong card. Like, take a look at this. Like, I need to like take a look, but like there's so many elementals. Like Firefly is like a little bit of a weak example with like putting an elemental in your hand. But like Blaze Caller effects, Fire Elemental effects, Zola effects, Alexstrasza effect. Kelly Moss is insane, guys, with this. So just some things that are just coming now in my mind. And I'm probably missing on a lot of really nice. Jades are rotating out, so we should count that one out. Like the Jades are rotating out in standard, and I let my review just be standard based. But cards like Death Knights are even like already having battle cries effect. So like such a sick card, guys. Grumble is gonna be also so great with this card, right? Oh my god. So this card is crazy, guys. Craziest card probably revealed out of this out of the expansion here. Amazing strong card. Like, and the good thing about battle cries is battle cries are are like active. Like they are normally when you play something with Death Rattle, it's super slow. Battle Cries are the tempo gainers. So this card is not gonna be too slow often because it's so Battle Cries are like proactive. So I definitely think this is gonna be a card that I don't know how crazy it will be. But, and there might be that, like, maybe Shaman is just having a little issue this expansion. But this card is crazy, guys. Crazy card. Next up for the Shaman is the Earthen Might. Earthen Might, 2 mana spell for the Shaman. Give a minion +2/+2 if it is an elemental, add a random elemental to your hand. So it's kind of like the Mark of Yashirash that we have in the Druid. Give +2/+2 a beast, draw a card. This card is like give +2/+2 to an elemental and add a random elemental to your hand. So really power card. I like this. I think this card is really good. It adds draw to your hand. Something that the Shaman really wants. Shaman is actually like it's always the mana tide that Shamans have to play as draw. But it kind of gets a little bit harder and harder because there is less and less synergy in like totems. We back in the day had the mid-range Shaman where like there are so many ways you could also buff additional totems. Now we still have flame totems, sure. But the totems start to be feeling a little bit weak around. But there are a lot of cheap elementals too, especially in Shaman that has like additional elementals. But if you just play Firefly turn 1, and then you play this, you start to have a really good tempo play. So, and the good thing is, this card is fine in the mid game too, because then you just play it as a 2/2, +2/+2 draw a card. It's better than drawing a card. Why would you draw a card when you can do +2/+2 draw a card? So this is a good card. It's really gonna be a good card. Will be a card you will see in Elemental Shaman, definitely. So, yep, it's mid-range decks will like this card a lot. Shaman has a draw issue, so they want to run draw. It's just what Shaman kind of needs a bit to maybe get there. The problem is just gonna be still maybe Shaman. It's definitely not a class that is like at the higher stance of what I will see in the power level. Also doesn't have like, it has a decent classic set, but definitely not the greatest. So it always at the start of expansions, if the meta is kind of like token based and mid-rangey based, Shaman is always strong because of it can do so well in the tempo based meta with like cards like Flame Totem. So it's gonna be a cool card. I definitely think this card is nice for a Shaman deck. Next up for the Shaman, the Blazing Invocation. Discover a Battlecry minion. So 1 mana, discover a card. Discover a Battlecry is definitely nice. Discover a Death Rattle card or discover a Battlecry minion is a way bigger difference. If you discover like a Death Rattle, it's super slow. Discovering a Battlecry has a direct effect. Like you can play this at turn 7 and you're like, hey, I need my Fire Elemental now. Or hey, maybe I need a Kellymoss next turn. Or hey, I just need a Firefly in the early game. Or hey, I need more value and I need Kellymoss and get some additional draw. Hey, how about getting a Shudderwock? So definitely a nice card because of it being Battlecry. Battlecry is just much better than other effects because it's so much faster. So gonna be a cool card in Shaman and that you might run into like a more Elemental Shaman. And Elemental Shaman is definitely an archetype that is not that far away from getting like pretty strong. It struggled a little bit as like decks had a lot of burn potential and that's always a little bit the problem of like getting towards the end of an of a rotation. Like there are so many cards in the set, decks become so strong, and token based decks or like minion statted based decks are always like starting to feel a little worse. At the start of the expansion you will see that will be different. That decks like that can definitely be a thing. You kind of saw it a little bit only at the end for like the priest. With like the dragon still around. Well, maybe the Shaman can take that a bit over with what it gets. We'll see. Next up for the Shaman is the Ghost Lighter Angel. 2 mana 2/2. Echo. So here Shaman is getting his Echo card. So really, again, another 2 mana Echo card. Every class kind of gets this one. Little bit worried about this card because it's not having like a direct effect. So the only reason you play this is for the stat line. Definitely, guys, cards like this. Every card that has Echo, great arena card. I know. But I'm kind of, it's hard. Like every card that has like a good value perspect will be good in arena. And I think Echo is going to be insane in arena. So, cool. Can be a thing for, hey, Quest Shaman, guys. How about Quest Shaman, you know? But besides that, I mean, it's solid stat line. It kind of feels like making a lot of tokens here and there, a little bit around the board. Feels like it might just be, oh, it's gonna be hard to make this card work. You kind of want it to get a little cheaper, maybe, huh? Like, Murloc Shaman is not really a thing at the moment. You have like the card that draws Murlocs from the deck, and maybe then you want to run this as a one-off if there is another strong Murloc. Just don't see this card fitting in anything. That's my problem. Like, yeah, it fits in Quest Shaman. But, yeah, Quest Shaman. So, it kind of feels a little bit out of what the other cards are in currently for Shaman. And that is just... Maybe with Hagata you can like get a lot of synergy, gain a lot of additional spells. Maybe you just want to play it as like somewhere just to generate some flexibility. But yeah, I don't think this card is gonna like see too much play. I just don't see a Shaman archetype having that much benefit from this. Next up for the Shaman is the card Zap. Zap is a 0 mana card, guys. And when a card gets revealed that is 0 mana, you already have to ring a bell. When a 0 mana card is revealed, guys, always scary. 0 mana cards are just always, can just always just be busted from the start. It's just because you can really cheat in tempo. And this card is just amazing. An amazing card for Shaman. The card is really comparable to Backstab, where a 0 mana deal 2 damage to a minion. Completely like comparable. The only big difference is that, well, it can also be just 2 damage to a minion. It can already be damaged. So it doesn't need to be like an undamaged minion. There is, the only other thing is like there's an overload one. So yeah, that is not nice. You overloading a bit. But hey, there might be also able to have some upsides here and there for overload. You have the Unbound Elemental, for example. And hey, just in general, guys, 0 mana and dealing 2 damage. That's just amazing. Like, why do we have to take a look at this too much more? It's gonna be an amazing card. And cards with 0 mana, guys, they always gonna be good. They always gonna be good. It's just 0 mana. It's just really, really strong. You know how Backstab preparations work. You know how Innervate was back, and still now, guys, Coin in Rogue is getting played. Well, I mean, Rogue is a little bit of a more miracle archetype, so maybe not a fair comparison. Huntersmar got nerfed because it was a 0 mana card, and this card's gonna be really good, guys. Really strong card. Probably one of the best cards in the set. You will, I mean, it might be a little bit to see how good Shaman will be in the rotation, but this card is amazing. It's a super strong card. Definitely one of the best cards out of Witchwood. Not even close. Next up, going to the Warlock. And we are having here a 3 mana 2/2. Ratcatcher. Rush, Battlecry, destroy a friendly minion and gain its attack and health. So Battlecry kind of reminds me on the Void Terror, this card. But this card has Rush. So that's really good. So, Rush on a 3 mana card, eat a card, Battlecry, destroy friendly minion. So you want to play this card obviously with like more Death Rattle oriented minions. Yeah, nice way to kill your cubes, guys, isn't it? Kill your cubes, kill your lackeys. I mean, that's what we currently know. Maybe also some like egg oriented cards is where this card is always good with. Like, just 3 mana, kill your Devilsaur egg. Then you have a 2/7 with Rush. and you gain charge. Or you gain rush and you gain a 5/5. This card is very strong. It can be good in like what we had back in the day, in a more Zui Warlock archetype, where you had the Nerubian Egg being so amazing. But the problem with that card was that at some point the Power Overwhelming rotated out, what was like, or went to the Hall of Fame, what was a big issue for it. 2/5, sorry I said it wrong, huh? Yeah, this card is good. The rush makes this card so good. It's a really, really nice card for Warlock. I don't know if it can really run into like the current Warlock, like QP archetype. You also have the Voodoo Doll, but I think can be a great card in Warlock, but I think it has a little too poor synergy with this. But this card will be maybe a fitter in here and there, and if there is going to be like a Death Rattle oriented, and I mean the current Warlocks look pretty Death Rattle oriented with the cubes. Like maybe you just want to play it in the cubes. If the meta gets mega control and you feel like, hey, I don't need healing as much anymore, maybe you just want to also play this. Because it just gains rush, it has a directly way to attack, pretty solid stat line that it will gain. It's a nice card. I'm a little bit I think it's so cheap. I'm a little bit expect this card to not be 3 mana. It's a really good card. Yeah, it's so good, man, with rush. It's really good, guys. Next up for Warlock, Curse of Weakness. Give all enemy minions -2 attack until your next turn. So this is a really interesting effect that you really have to keep in mind. Give all enemy minions -2 attack until your next turn. So when you pass your turn, they are still having -2 attack. And that's pretty big. That's a big difference compared to like Pin Size Potion, where it only works on your turn and then it ends. So in that way, it's like kind of comparable to... how do you say it? What can I compare this card with? Like, it's not really comparable to Pin Size. It's more like comparable to maybe like Frost Nova a bit. As it like makes probably your opponent's board kind of like freezing with all the 0 attacks. But they can like do something against it if they silence their own minions. So really, and it also has Echo. So like you can really stack it well. Like you can play this with Doomsayer, guys. Just go Doomsayer into this. It's kind of like Doomsayer for us Nova, isn't it? There are also some really good combinations with this card, because you have the Void Ripper, the card that changes all attack and defense. So you can play this card turn 5 this with Void Ripper, or maybe at turn 7 with the Void Ripper. And don't forget, the Void Ripper is also a demon, guys. So that is already like some synergy too, like in Warlock. I wonder if there can be like a more mid-range archetype of it. It's just probably... Like the current Warlock is so strong, guys. Like the power level of what we have for Warlock is so high that cards have to be so strong to get considered to play in Warlock at the moment. Like I'm thinking if there might be that you want to play a more control Warlock archetype, not Q-block, but like control Warlock that we have around now, that only plays like the Void Lords and the Lackey. And then maybe a card like this can work in like a bit more of that kind of archetype. That is like more defensive. And of course still play with Gul'dan and so on. But this card is good. This card is good. In a control-y Warlock, I think. Not in the cube maybe. But like in the control Warlock that is around. Played with a Doomsayer. It's like a freeze effect, yeah. So, and there are combinations possible. I like this design a lot. It's a really cool design. Also, until your next turn. Like, there are not many cards that have that effect. It can also be like, hey, you can first make a value trade. Or you can, like, play this, go face. And then your opponent cannot trade with the minions anymore. And then you go face again. So it might make like a mid-rangey Warlock be a thing too. Dark Possession! Another Warlock card. So, another Warlock card. Deal 2 damage to a friendly character. Discover a demon. Oh, what a good card again, isn't it, guys? Like, already just 1 mana Discover a demon is good. and deal 2 damage to a friendly. I mean, it should be negative. But I wonder how negative it is to deal 2 damage to a friendly character when you can damage your lackey and get like this on. Like, it's just like, in a more controlling meta, where you don't want to need the mega healing maybe, you just play this on your lackey. You kill your lackey, you gain a Void Lord, and you discover a demon, and you discover a Void Lord. Oh my god, guys. Do you know what the issue is for Warlock currently, guys? That they can only play 30 cards in their deck. Because I will play 40 cards in my Warlock deck, and it will... really good synergy with the weapon, this one. With the Skull of the Manari. Like, this card is really good synergy with Skull of the Manari, because you can also discover a demon. So, oh my god, this card's so good. Oh my god, guys. You're gonna get nightmares from Warlock on later. I think this, I mean, yeah, it can get Geisted, and Dark Pact is a lot of healing. Like, maybe in some metas, this card is a bit too slow. Because, hey, but hey, it's a 1 mana card, so... There's just a synergy with Lackey. And even, guys, just do it on your... Like, the deal to damage doesn't need to be on, like, a demon. Like, you can do it on maybe a cheaper... Well, Mixtures rotates out. Maybe you need some defensive cards and you want to play, like, Beetles here. Kind of, I'm thinking what you can really do. But it also has synergy with, like, the Spellstone, for example. What is also not to forget. Yeah, guys, it's going to be a little bit of an issue maybe for cards like this, but I don't know how much of an issue it really will be. So, yeah, it's card is really good. It's a really good card. Fiendish Circle. Summon 4 1/1 imps. I'm just thinking of this card compared to Implosion, guys. Alright, we have a bad Warlock card in the set. Feels good, man. I think Warlock deserves to also get a rubbish card, because this card looks really bad to me. It has like kind of D-synergy even now with cards like Gul'dan so badly. If I compare this card to Implosion, like the Implosion, for the people that don't know it, it was like a 4 mana card, deal 2 to 4 damage and summon 2 to 4 imps, but if you dealt 4 damage, you summoned 4 imps. One of the worst designed cards ever in Hearthstone, but if you just compare this card to a lot of 4 mana cards, like Flanking Strike that deals 3 damage, summon a 3/3, this card's just too weak. Guys, it's a really bad card. But hey, it's fine. Nobody will bother, because we got a lot of good Warlock cards revealed. Only in like a Zooey one, but I don't think a Zooey Warlock wants to play a 4 mana card, just summon 4 1/1s. Witchwood Imp. So also a little bit more of an Zooey card. Witchwood Imp, 1 mana 1/1 demon, stealth, death rattle, gamer, random friendly minion, +2. Oh, that's pretty decent. So is the Malkazar's Imp rotating out, guys? Okay, if Malkazar's Imp rotates out... That's a big card in the current Zoo archetypes, in my opinion. Malkazar's Imp. This card is decent because on 1 mana 1/1 with stealth and giving a little bit health is pretty decent. And Zoo wants to play a lot of 1-drops. If there is, and they're actually getting some 1-drops played that are way or have been played that are way weaker than this. So, and plus health is really nice for Zooey decks, guys. So don't underestimate this. If you just do this on a Flame Pip, it's a decent card. It's not gonna be like a mega good card in Zoo, but it might just fit there in, like as a 1-off, as a 2-off a bit. Will weaken your Gul'dan synergy maybe a bit, what can be an issue. But just some nice demon synergy, and because of the stealth it's really strong, because you can also play your buff demon cards, as you have like the 2 and the 3 mana that both like give +2/+2, +3 prestige on demons. There's also some really nice, always guaranteed synergy with that, as it is a stealth. It already has a 1 attack, so It's pretty decent. It can also fit so well. Just play a Direwolf next to it, so 1 mana 2/1, and then afterwards you buff your Direwolf to like a 2/4. So the card is pretty decent. And Zulok likes this card. Zulok definitely likes this card. So Rabid Worgen, a 3 mana 3/3 with Rush. This kind of reminds me a bit on like Alexstrasza's Champion. For the people that were know, like in the more Temple Warrior, Dragon Warrior archetype, Alexstrasza's Champion was an 3/3 with charge for 2 mana. If you had a dragon in hand. And it's really powerful, guys. When 2 or 3 attack, 2 or 3 mana cards can directly attack. Imagine your opponent just having like a mana worm or something on the board that is a 1, or like a cleric, and instead of like needing to remove it with a weapon, you now coin out this guy at turn 2. And you clear it away and you're left over with a 3/2. It's very good. It's very good. This card is very good. You can combine it a little bit to Carrion Elite, but instead like this guy doesn't have charge but rush, and the stat line is a little bit similar. 4/3 to 3/3, but 1 mana cheaper. It's a really good card, guys. It is a good card if the meta is token oriented and there are reasons to rush into things. And this is a really good card for Warrior. So I definitely think this is a good. What is the rush win condition, or what is the win condition from Rush Warrior? I definitely think like cards like Frauding Berserker are great fits. You definitely want to play with maybe still the Carrion Elite. Well, but the Woodcutter X with like a combination to this card, guys. Yeah, like it depends. Like Rush always depends a bit on meta. Like I'm kind of already used to the Rush, as I played quite some other card games that all already had the Rush mechanic. And you're gonna be surprised how good Rush is. The only thing is, like, if a meta is really like combo oriented with combo decks, or really control decks that are like super passive, Rush starts to get weaker. But when it is like an more token, when there are gonna be decks like the more aggressive Paladins, Zeus, some board oriented Shamans, maybe token druids around, then cards like this are insane. They're gonna be insane. If the meta is gonna be Void Lord, yeah, you're gonna have like, hey, what is this card even doing? I can only attack in my Void Lord. So then you lose the power of it. So yeah, a card like this is really good. I think this card is good, and I think Rush Warrior is gonna be really good if the meta is not gonna be like only Warlocks. So in tournament play, Rush Warrior I think is gonna be a really good archetype if you can ban that Warlock away. That's a little bit my concern, but also great synergy with the X and so on, so it's definitely nice. It's definitely nice. Alright, I think I got all the cards, but maybe I should take a look, guys, because I think I forgot some cards of that were revealed like way earlier. I think I got most. I might have missed like a little bit. But let's do a full class review, and then we get definitely everything together.